In this section, we're going to be first of all talking about distance and midpoint formulas, and then we're also going to be talking about circles in a little bit. Okay, so what I have here are the distance formula and the midpoint formula, which these are both formulas that you have worked with before. Distance formula would be used if you're trying to find the distance between 2 points. So you would take your x values, your x value from each point, and you would subtract those values. And then like here you would have your y values, your y coordinates of each point, and you would subtract those. The key that you've got to remember in doing the distance formula is whatever order you subtract your x's in, you need to make sure that you subtract your y's in exactly the same order. Your midpoint formula, again, you're going to be given 2 points, and you're just simply finding the point that would be exactly halfway between the 2 given points. Okay, so our example using each one of these formulas. So we're going to take these 2 points and actually find distance and midpoint both. Alright, so starting out, if you want to label the points with the sub 1s and the sub 2s, you can. So like for instance, this would be x sub 1, y sub 1, and this then could be x sub 2, y sub 2. And you could reverse that. This could be your sub 1s and this one could be your sub 2s. Like I said, with the distance formula, just make sure you're consistent when you're doing the subtraction step. Alright, so starting out, your distance formula. So we'll have the square root. Alright, so just following the order of the formula, it started out with x sub 2 minus x sub 1, so that's going to be 6 minus a negative 4. So because that's minus a negative, we can change that to plus. Okay, then in between the 2 parentheses, you'll have a plus sign. And now subtract your y's in the same order, so negative 4 minus 7 will give me negative 11. I'm sorry, I just need to write that down. Let's do that again. So negative 4 minus 7, and then that quantity squared. Okay, so here we have, of course, 10, so that's going to give us 10 squared. This will give us negative 11, so negative 11 squared. So your 10 squared will give you 100. Your negative 11 squared will give you 121. So do your addition there and you get square root of 221. And of course sometimes you'll end up with the square root of a perfect square, therefore your distance will work out to be a nice whole number for you. In this case 221 is not a perfect square. Now you do need to see if you can simplify the radical if possible. Check to see if there are any perfect squares that will divide into the 221, but you actually don't have any that will. Don't change these 2 decimals. Just do whatever simplifying that you can here and then just leave it in radical form. Okay, now the next part was to do midpoint. So I'll just work that beside here. So your midpoint formula, of course it was set up to look like an ordered pair for you. Alright, so it started out with the x sub 1 plus the x sub 2. So negative 4 plus 6 divided by 2. Okay, and then with your y's, y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. Okay, so your negative 4 plus 6 is going to give you positive 2. Of course, it's the same thing as minus 4, so 7 minus 4 is going to give me 3 over 2. And then we'll do one step further here because 2 divided by 2 will give us 1. So the 0.13 halves, oh, sorry about that. Scoot it over so you can see it. The 0.13 halves then would be our point that's halfway between these 2 given points.